Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the best of the best. We are chatting with our Blaze Business Award winners, the very first Blaze Business Award winners. And today I have the winner for the Best in Beauty category. Welcome, Victoria Campbell Osborne.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great today, Victoria. It's always a pleasure to see your beautiful smile, even though the folks who are listening can't see it. But I'm excited to chat with you today. First of all, congratulations on winning the very first Blaze Business Award in the category of beauty. How did you feel when you won that category?
It is such a honor to be, I said in my post that it just hits different when it comes from founders. When it comes from people who understand what this grind is, who understand what courage it takes to step out in your business, it is such a different kind of honor. So it's a blessing, but it's a bigger blessing because it came from founders.
Yes, I agree because it's almost a sense that, even though our journeys are unique in our own ways and we navigate the journey differently based on, what is before us, the industry that we're in, kind of what circumstances we're going into, we all kind of have that shared knowledge about how just dynamic this whole experience is. We're literally creating businesses sometimes from nothing, from our intuition, from our creativity, from just our inspiration. And so it really does hit differently when we are recognized and honored and seen and heard by our peers in the industry. So I definitely resonate with that.
And it also is the double benefit of the fact that it comes from Black and brown women. I'm in an industry, it's a $1 billion industry, and it's one that we often are overlooked in. We have to carve out our own spaces in. And so for me to be recognized in that category by Black women means a lot to me because honestly, that's why I do what I do. Yes, it's for everybody. Yes, everybody can smell good. But in a $1 billion industry that only has less than 100 Black and brown owners, I am spectacularly humbled by the fact that it comes from Black women.
I love it. So that's a good segue. Let's talk about the Scented Web and tell us how you got started.
So the Scented Web, I used to joke when I first started this business that I'm my best customer. I love fragrance, and what was increasingly apparent to me was how hard it was, especially during COVID, to access high-end fragrances without having to commit to buying $400, $500 bottles. Like, I want to smell good, but I'm not trying to take out a mortgage to do that. And while there were companies that offered a way to try things out, it became increasingly more difficult during COVID. You couldn't get into the store to test things out. You couldn't trust that necessarily the things that you were getting were going to be the way they were described on the internet. And so it really started out from a frustration as a customer. I wanted to be able to experience things and not go broke. I also was, increasingly dismayed by the fact that I knew that there were these amazing non-traditional fragrances out there that often most people didn't have access to. Like, everybody knows Chanel and everybody knows Burberry, but there are Black and brown brands that don't get any love publicly, other than in the niche communities. And I wanted to be able to not only try those, but as a consumer, I wanted to be able to support those brands regularly in ways that didn't require me filling out customs forms, which is what often would happen. And so it started out as a very small thing. Like, what would it look like for somebody to make these brands available with no commitment? Like, you can try it out. You don't like it, don't buy it again. Like, it's not like a lot of the subscription services that would say, oh, now you're locked in. You got to buy 47,000. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. We're just going to send it to you and hope that you do. And so we basically just counter programmed to everything that was out there. Try it on your own terms, like it or don't like it. If it turns out that you love it, we'll help you figure out where to get it at a cheaper rate. We help people feel best on some of their worst days. Fragrances has, an amazing memory, both in good and bad. Like fragrance can like make you feel 100% better than you did before you sprayed it, or it'll take you back to a memory that was the best day of your life. And that's the thing that I love the most about it, how visceral it is for everyone, no matter what scent you like.
That's so interesting. So now that you mentioned, that our olfactory senses are really tied to like our memory, like what are some fragrances for you that are tied to, and what memories are tied to those that are very distinct in your experience?
So, I will, the first and foremost is we all have, like, especially in the Black community, we all have a scent memory, and most of us, to something that's tied to a grandparent or church. And there is nothing like that Easter Sunday cacophony of scent that comes towards you. Once you get past the white diamonds of it all, there's also some Chanel in there, and a little bit of, like, depending on how far back you want to go, some Elizabeth Arden and all that good stuff. But I remember my grandmother putting on her Charlie, and I used to like not know why people called her Charlie, because that was not her name, but it was because of the fragrance. Because she wore it so often. And so it's one of those things where it wasn't on my mind when I started this business, but then it just came to me how often we have scent memories that we don't even think about. For me in this business, the first scent that we created was called Cuddle Buddy Season. And so I can smell that, and good, bad, or indifferent, it takes me back to the trenches of this business. Like, it makes me think of, it's not the intention of the scent, but for me, it makes me think of 2:00 in the morning. It makes me think of website updates. It makes me think of our first wholesale customer, because it's tied to that point in my life. And then the one that I think now, it's hilarious that it is, but our bestseller is one that people come back and talk about. So I smell it now and I hear other people's stories. Girl, I wore that on my date Friday night and I almost didn't make it out the car. Girl, I wore that on my interview. I knew I had the job before I left. Like those kinds of stories. I know customers empower all of us as business owners, but those kinds of stories make me keep going. Like I'm doing something right if it's having that kind of impact on people's life.
Absolutely. No, and it helps you anchor down in like why you do what you do even more so than just like selling a fragrance. It helps you remember that this is beyond just, something that people can put on their skin. It helps elevate their experiences even more, which is great. I do the same thing. Even, not just with fragrances for my body, but like with candles and incense, and like there's certain ones that I go for depending on how I'm feeling or what I want to feel, or those things like that. So I love that you are enriching people's lives through your business in the way that you are, and it goes to show that we can make positive and transformative impacts even with something as like sometimes ancestral too, like you were talking about, it just goes back to the memory. We don't have sometimes we can't force ourselves to go there, but our bodies remember. Casey always tells me this. Our bodies too. Mm-hmm.
And it's also the thing of fragrance is people look at it and think it is such a luxury. It's such a non-needed thing. I try to focus in on the scents, not because of what's needed or not, But we often have spent so much time in life deferring joy, saying, oh, well, I'll save up for that. Or, oh, that's not, I got to buy this. I can't focus on something frilly like that. And so the thing about us being affordable and being able to offer people price points that they can afford for less than a lunch at Panera, right, becomes a thing where we're letting people lean into not only joy in the moment, we're providing accessibility for people to things that they'll tell you we shouldn't have. Oh, if you can't shop at Neiman Marcus, you can't have this scent, but you can with us, right? But it's also the third part. We as women, especially Black women, are often the pace setters, the trend setters for things in beauty. And that includes in fragrance. And so often we're left out of that conversation. And so it's a little thing, and it's definitely not on the cure cancer level, right? But it is on the level of increasing access and visibility to Black and brown brands, and to a Black woman being at the head of a beauty company seems like an insignificant thing until you realize it's us in a Davy and Goliath kind of fight every day. So I take joy in the fact that people can access these fragrances that they normally wouldn't have, but I take bigger joy in the fact that whether they know it or not, they're a part of a silent revolution of us being acknowledged in real time for the trends that we set without the rules and limitations that they put around it. So like, that's the lead. Like, we bury that lead. that's the little part. But the big thing is that I feel like there's so much in this industry that just doesn't acknowledge us. And it was that way in beauty, like in traditional cosmetics, even though there were Black and brown makers all the way back to the 1900s making changes in these industries. But because they weren't the most recognized or well known, we just kind of let that history go away, right? But now everybody knows who CJ Walker is. Now everybody knows what Fashion Fair did for beauty. So it becomes a thing that I think fragrance is that next big thing.
Victoria, you are absolutely a disruptor in your industry for sure. And I love that. I love that.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, already you are doing some amazing work, not just in fragrance, but just in helping us to decolonize how we view beauty, and decolonize and remove like the gatekeeping of like what should feel good, what can feel good. Like, we don't have to get barred access to smelling good, feeling good, doing good, just because somebody said, oh, like you said, these you don't belong here, or you don't deserve this access until X, Y, and Z. That is very disruptive. It really is.
I joke and say it's the Klarna of it all. I'm not against it, but I am of the mind that if it's not necessary, we're going to stop making it seem like people can only have access on the limitations and rules that you give them. But it's also funny. I also want people to have the best of the best. So I'm not going to hate on, things that people get in the beauty supply or at the barbershop. But I really want people to experience the plethora of things that are in the world. Like, you don't have to have a dupe. You can have the real thing. I know they told you couldn't, but you can.
That's disruptive thinking. I love that. I love that so much. And so, Victoria, like, I know that we have previously talked about how you have connected with another brand through Blaze. Yes. What has that experience been like? Because I've used that product as well, and it smells really good.
It's amazing.
It does.
So shout out to Kaya Blackstone, the founder and owner of Solo. Solo is a glow intimacy oil, CBD infused, made from some of the most amazing products. They founded the product basically working with scientists to make sure that it was as holistic and healthy and good for you and good feeling to you. We met at the Blaze Summit. We're talking about just general founder things. And she is based in Germany. She has this amazing product and wanted to know how it would work in the States. And so I said, hey, I go to a lot of shows. I'll just put it on the table. Let's see how it goes. Let's see. And what started out as just a conversation is now a partnership and collaboration. And it's a partnership and collaboration that, contrary to the way that people would want you to believe it has to work, every dime that's earned from that is Kaya's dime. I didn't put that together. We have a relationship that is mutually beneficial, but the money that gets generated from that goes straight to Solo. Because I don't believe that if we're genuinely trying to collaborate and help each other, that needs to be about money. It's because I have the ability to help a founder figure out a market. And so ultimately we have that relationship and that agreement. And I hope that more people will see that as a way to partner with people that doesn't have to be this laborious, litigious, let's write this 87-page contract. I purchased a bottle. I thought it was amazing. I put it on my table. End of story. She sent me signage. She created a QR code. People order from the QR code. They get it directly shipped to their house. This is not a thing where I'm getting in that business model. And the reason it's amazing to me is because it's what we can do when we work together. And it all came from the summit. Like I've said this to you offline. I am inexplicably and unabashedly changed from me going to that summit. That summit changed the way I thought about my business. That summit changed the partners that I had. That summit put me in front of women that I never would have met before. That summit gave me a confidence and a resilience and a place of respite that I didn't have before I did the summit. And so, circling back to how you asked me how it felt to win, to have it happen from Blaze, knowing what Blaze has meant to me personally, like beyond my business, what Blaze has done for me personally is it defies words and understanding. And then to see the ways that it manifests in me purchasing things for my business from other founders, me doing this partnership with Kaya, me being able to have this conversation with you. Look at what happened in a year. Imagine what could happen in 5 if all of us put that mind to that effort.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that and going into detail about how a true aligned partnership can look without all the red tape and all the other things that we tend to think has to happen in order for us to support each other at times. I love that you and Kaya have a very organic partnership and relationship, and that you saw an opportunity. And I think that's key, founder to founder. How can I help you, and what opportunities can I support you in, whether it's market research or, giving you the opportunity to explore new markets, especially when it's not in the same country that she lives in. And I know how incredibly difficult that might have been. But I can only imagine how grateful and how excited she was to be a part of that as well.
It only took asking the question, how can I help you win? And so many people are afraid of that question. We all win when she wins. Because I think it often is a thing of we're so enmeshed in what we're trying to accomplish. It seems like a distraction. It seems like it's taking energy away. Like I need to focus on this. But it's bigger and deeper than that. We're trying to break systems. You're not going to change the systems living by the systems as they are. And in the mindset of capitalism, it would be like, oh, I can't help her. She sells oil just like me. What would it look like me putting her oil on my table? It looks like me helping her win. Full stop. And it's only a benefit to the both of us. We learn so much from this partnership, both of us. And ultimately, the bigger part of it is we're so used to people not caping for us that we ultimately believe that that's the way it has to be. It takes nothing off my shine to see her win. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. She is one of my biggest cheerleaders. It takes nothing off my shine or my bank account to help her win, because what's meant for me is mine. Today may not be my day, but tomorrow will be. And if we move toward that, we break down all of these barriers of competition and the silos of I got to do it by myself. Half the things I've learned about this year have come from other founders. Other people taking the time to pull my slip and be like, hey, let me tell you about this. So no, it's a mindset shift. And a lot of people are scared of that conversation because they're living in a space that worries that they're giving away something they need. Everything you put out will come back to you tenfold, good and bad. But in this case, I'm going to keep doing the good stuff and then sit here and pop my coat and wait for my good stuff to come back.
Yes. Oh, it's coming. It's already here too, Victoria. I love, love, love that. I was sitting back and just letting your words just like absorb into my skin and my brain because I needed to hear that. I really did need to hear that. And I think that is why I love the Blaze community so much. You know, like attracts like, and knowing our founder and CEO and what she stands for, Casey, and what she is about, and the people who have been magnetized to her work and her mission, and now to be a part of the Blaze team as co-founder and CPO. It makes sense, and it feels like home. It feels like home, and I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing that and articulating it in the exact way that you did for me to receive it in the way that I needed to receive it. Victoria, tell us about what is coming up in the future for the Scented Web. How can we stay connected? What are you excited about?
I am most excited about our long overdue website overhaul. I know it's a founder thing to be excited about, but listen, I can't wait for it to be updated. But the other thing I'm really excited about is our anniversary. I know for a lot of, people who are not founders or people who are aspiring founders, it may seem like a really little thing, but let me tell you, hitting your 1-year anniversary, I can't even put words around. It is scary and it is worthwhile and it is, dang, I did that thing. And it is perseverance and it is joy and it is humility. Like, cause it could have gone 100 different ways and this is the way that it went, right? But it's also a testament to what we have the capacity to do when we show up for ourselves. And Casey has heard me say it, so I'm not speaking behind her back. Casey and Blaze help us show up for ourselves in ways that many of us show up for other people all the time. And I got put on notice, but when are you going to show up for you? And the millisecond that I started doing that, my whole business shifted. And so I'm excited about our anniversary because it is a testimony to the year of me showing up for me. It just happened to be that I brought a business alongside me. And so I'm excited about that. And I'm excited because By the time this will air, we would have done 100 shows in 10 months. It was hard. Let's not bury that. It wasn't easy, but it also made me know that capacity is often what you give yourself the belief that you can do. Because if you had asked me 10 months ago, can you do 100 shows? I would have asked you what manner of controlled substance you took today. 100. But we have. And it's been a learning experience. It's been talking to people about their children as they buy fragrances. It's been making specialty oils for people who've had skin problems and can't figure out why they can't buy things off the shelf. For people who are getting ready for those interviews or dates or, proposals. For other founders, showing up for them in ways to say, hey, I figured this out. Let me tell you this, so that you don't have to stumble. And so I know it seems, like I said, it's like celebrating your birthday and blowing out your own cake. But I just am so proud of us for having come through this year, that I will see everything that happens after this as such a blessing, because there are so many people who die with their dreams on the inside, and I get to live mine out every day.
Beautiful. We're going to end on that note, because I don't want to try to come after that with any other words. I just want everyone listening to really just sit in what the words that Victoria shared with us today, not just about her business and the journey and about partnership and collaboration, but also about celebrating yourself and showing up for yourself exactly how you show up for others. It's beautiful. And I want to, again, congratulate you, Victoria, not just for winning this award, but for everything that you have done for yourself and for your business that has poured out. And I'm glad that you are getting your flowers. And I know that you will continue getting those flowers. So I want to continue celebrating you. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to hearing more updates about the Scented Web. And happy early birthday and happy early anniversary.
Thank you. I'm so excited to see everything you have planned in the next coming months. And I've already taken off the whole week in December, because we're not playing that game again.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We will link all of Victoria's socials and URLs in the show notes so that you can stay connected with her. But we are so glad to have her as our first Best in Beauty Blaze Business Award winner, Victoria Campbell Osborne of the Scented Web.